Right, so we're back after the break. So, off we go.
Yeah, so we basically agreed to discuss about the guides, because I feel it's a really, really exciting part of the whole shamanism, the guides you are communicating with,
Yes.
the guides who you are talking to when it's about healing yourself or the client or anyone.
Yes. So it's a question about the guides, and as I work constantly with them, and I could point out this point, I work with 10 guides and 4 helpers, and if you add me, that's 15. So if I'm doing a meetup or a retreat or work, people get 15. So that's kind of helpful for people to understand. They see the one, but there's a 14 as well. Yes. My relationship with guides changed drastically after I finished my training. Very short time after I finished my training, and I went with all of us. All of us were invited, if we want to, by my teacher. Do you want to work with the plant medicine people called Yai or Ayahuasca? And so we invited to do a retreat with him, and during that retreat, that was my second experience with those plant medicines. And at a certain point in that retreat, when I was in the medicine, she said to me, by the way, I'm with you for good now. So that produced a change in my relationship with the guides. And shortly after that, the guides then said, we're with you all the time. It's not like you to drum or you do the breathing work to bring a connection with us. We're just here all the time, so deal with it. So that's it. So to do with them.
Wasn't it scary for you to have all
Not remotely. It's actually the exact opposite. There's nothing scarier, I reckon, than working with people in a therapeutic situation. I have real compassion for psychotherapists and people like that, because either they are not working with their guides or they're not aware of them. What a dreadful situation to be in. It's so much more safe to have your guides to work with. So this is a situation. This ends up being a very big picture. So this is a very exciting planet. This is the most exciting ride in the universe, to possess a physical body as a human on this planet now. And I mean now, as opposed to any other time in recorded history or before that. There is so much of significance going on now, and people are experiencing huge amounts of oppression and suffering, and it's all coming to a head. So what is needed literally is an army of people that are willing to be of service to help these people. And this is one of the first things you actually reach the point where you say, not my will, but thy will be done. That's a term that the Christians use when they go in the service. And that's very much how it is. So as a shaman, I do what I'm told, and the guides know what to do. So guides are beings that choose to work with cooperative humans to assist the global awakening. So this is about as big a picture as you can possibly get. There's a global awakening of consciousness going on this planet right now, and the more people are accessing and tuning into guides, the more smooth and rapid and successful this awakening is. And I have absolutely no question in my mind. Some people are worried about, oh, we're doomed, oh, nuclear this, or oh, environmental that. As a shaman, I have absolutely no concerns whatsoever, because I know the way things are going, no matter what it might look like. So when I think about these guides, let's break it down, because that helps people to understand. So I have animal guides. I have 3. I have human guides. I have plant guides. I have non-corporeal guides that don't have any physical existence whatsoever. And I have helpers. And the helpers are extraterrestrial in their origin. I make a distinction between the guides and the helpers because they operate in different ways and they've got different abilities. So I need to shut up now and ask you to ask me, what do you want to focus on? That was just the introduction.
Actually, you answered one of my questions, was the difference between a helper and the guide.
Let me go into more detail so it's more precise. A guide has the ability to work doing the healing with the client, with the shaman, The helpers have the ability to access extraterrestrial modalities which only exist not on this planet. And in my particular case, we're talking about the Andromeda Galaxy. That's where they originate, and they have this very close relationship with me. And what they have the ability to do, which all human beings will have the ability to do eventually, is they can literally manufacture any healing modality required to encounter any situation whatsoever, which is phenomenal. And I feel like I need to give you this really clear distinction between the guides and the helpers. I was doing a journey for a client, and this is someone I knew moderately well. She had experienced being a human sacrifice in Central America a long time ago, and we'd done some fairly conventional shamanic soul retrieval for her, and then it came to the point there's something else. So me and the guides and helpers, we went off, and we were looking for this missing soul part. Not on this planet, not in this galaxy, not anywhere in the universe that we understand, but there is a soul part that's missing. We need to find that soul part to give this person healing. Me and the guides and helpers, we were off, and we left this universe behind completely, and we found ourselves in a reality which I couldn't understand at all. Normally if I do a journey, I can assemble what I'm perceiving into something that makes some kind of sense for me, even if it's in a different galaxy. I can do that, but this was somewhere else, different dimension. I didn't know where on earth it was. I couldn't understand anything that was going on. So I said to the guys, come on, who's going to step up? Who knows what's going on? And they all said, we haven't a clue. We don't know what's going on. I should explain that at that particular point, this is early on working with my helpers, the helpers actually created a special device for us to travel outside the universe. And so we looked at the helpers, and the helpers just fiddled around with something, and within a couple of seconds we could perceive where we were. I can't find any words to describe it. I would love to have the ability to draw what we saw. The word see is wrong. What we perceived, what we took in. I couldn't. But the only thing that matters is it had some kind of a form we could comprehend, and then we could comprehend the whereabouts and the existence of that soul part. And that soul part had been traumatized way beyond belief, which is why it was so far away. And then it was a very straightforward process of dialoguing with the soul part, inviting the soul part to come back with us, the soul part being infinitely relieved as they are almost all of the time, bringing it back with love, restoring it to the client, and it was wonderful. So that was a case where guides 0, helpers 1 in the scale of actually achieving the results. Yeah.
That is a quite strong difference and a quite strong example.
It is, and I need to make this case. People that I've trained, which includes Neil, we all have access to helpers. Generally speaking, shamans don't work with helpers. We're rather unusual in this sense.
Why did you choose? No, you didn't choose them to work with, or how?
I will tell you the story of how I came to work with helpers, because it's pretty cool. One of the things about being a shaman is you inevitably attract friends who are shamans. So enter David the Shaman Chef into the picture. Apart from doing healing, he does shamanic cuisine. So he came to visit me and said, hey Keith, I did this weekend and it was Sekhem Reiki, I did all the catering, and I was able to join in some of the workshops. And one of these workshops, the woman said to us, would you like a chance to work with some extraterrestrial helpers? And so everyone said yeah. So they did their journey, and he came across 2. They have names I can name, Padema and Nemedja. They chose to work with him, so he came hot-footed from his weekend. Hey, Padema and Nemedja, helpers. They're my new helpers. Do you want to do this too? Do you want to see if they want to work with you? So I said yeah, of course. So we did a journey, and as soon as we were in the realms beyond the 3D reality, it's like, yeah, we want to work with you too. From that moment onwards, I had Padema and Nemedja. The first time they manifested to me in terms of appearance, what they looked like humanoid shape, with the head and the arms and legs and all that, and they had blue jumpsuits on with yellow patches over that part of the face and that part of the face and that part of the chest and that part of the chest. And for quite some time, that's how they manifested themselves to me. Very, very shortly after that first experience, they then said, all right, dude, here you go. And these 2 other beings stepped up. and they were dressed the same, but instead of the yellow patches they had the red patches. So Pradema and the measure, and we're not going to give you a name, and we're not going to give you a name because we don't do any of that. Basically, the extraterrestrial races do not use names. Pradema and measure just were being kind to us to kind of fit in a bit with you humans and the way you do things. So there's no need for names when we leave the planet Earth, because all beings have an energy signature. That's how everyone recognises each other. What do you want a name for? It's such a big deal down here. It's really not a big deal elsewhere. So then I have these four. And the very first thing they did is they installed seals of protection on my clients, so that when the negative energies were removed, nothing could get in there and interfere with them ever again. And after some months of working with them, there was a particular point they said to themselves, okay, he's ready, and they showed me what they really looked like. They didn't look like that at all. That was just to make it comfortable for me. So what they look like is basically they've got this humanoid shape with the heads and the shoulders and the arms and the legs and the body, and beautiful, iridescent, all the colours of rainbow, plus silver, plus gold, plus colours you can't conceive of, emanating and radiating light, and that is their true form, and that's how they appear. Yeah.
But what sounds a little bit, not weird, but funny for me, I imagined after I heard you and Neil talking about that you are communicating with your guides, I imagined that every shaman has a certain group of guides, but you are telling now that one helper can help other shamans as well. So how does that...
Right, let me be clear about the guides and the helpers. If you're trained to be a shaman, if the person who's training you is any good whatsoever, you will do a journey to your safe place shamanically, then you'll do a journey to meet your guide, and gradually you do more journeys, you will gather a coterie of guides. Now, having trained a lot of people, well over 30, probably approaching 40 now since 2012, what I've discovered is it's fascinating. There's one of the people I trained, her entire healing modality, her pantheon of guides and helpers, purple fog. That's it. Purple fog does everything. We're all different. And this is actually tapping into a really big subject. Some people do all the healing work with purple fog, other people have got these collection of guides, and people have been trained by me, and I'm sure other people working with helpers too. But the primary distinction is helpers can create these special modalities, and they're not from around here.
Mm-hmm. But you never felt that you are the guide's tool, let's say? That
A good question. Am I the tool of the guides? It's a very funny question, because, and I know if Neil was here he would say it, at a recent retreat, at a particular point in the integration, Neil said, the thing you need to realise is that this space is a tool, the plants we work with are tools, and Keith and I are tools. And then bursts of laughter all around, because in English vernacular that has a particular meaning which is not very complimentary, so we had a good joke about that. So yes, we are tools. It reminds me of a guy called Mark Bolan who sung in a song being God's tool. In a sense, human beings begin by living for themselves, and at a certain point in their evolution, through maybe many lifetimes, they reach the point when they realise how unsatisfactory that is. It's very boring living for yourself all the time. What do I want? What am I going to do? What do I think? There comes a point you want more out of life, and then that takes you to, okay, there's all this suffering in the world, people need help. I'm not here for myself anymore. I'm here for myself, and the and is actually bigger than the me. So that is my cue. They're saying, yes, you have to say this, so I will. Before I trained and studied shamanism, I studied Western magic. And in the studying of Western magic, in that tradition, I did a lot of work to cleanse myself through banishing. That's what they call cleansing in the magical tradition. And I used to say the words every day for 3.5 years. I dedicate this day to the furtherance of the great work. May I go where I'm needed and do what's required. So I've been dedicating each day for 3.5 years to being more than just for myself. And then one day I went to visit my friend, and he lives in a straw bale house on 5 acres of land in Gloucestershire. And he's a builder, and he hadn't come home from work, so I thought, what am I going to do? So I got out of the car, stood in the field, I thought I'll do my usual banishing. When it came to saying those words, I dedicate this day, that's not what came out of my mouth. What came out of my mouth, and I knew the second these words were out, I couldn't undo it. I dedicate my life to the furtherance of the great work. My go where I'm needed, where I do what's required. So that was the moment I really stepped up to the plate. There are times I've done universal soul retrievals in an aeroplane. I've done them in all the most inconvenient places, and there are times that there's something I really want to do. Too bad it's not happening. You're going to do this piece of work. So yes, the work becomes more important than anything I might desire for myself. And I feel that's something that would bind all shamans together, that sense of being here for the awakening of humanity, who needs so much help at the moment especially. So the shaman's view of humanity is that probably more than 90% of the population are carrying massive traumas from many lifetimes, and this is oppressing them, and meaning they don't have the energy that is their birthright, their original condition. So we want to give them their energy back that they've lost through trauma, and we want to take away and release the negative energies which are also holding them down. So most people held down my negative energies, and they're lacking the life force they so desperately need. And the more people that have the life force return and the negative energies released, the more they become in tune with their true purpose in life, and they can manifest what they're here to manifest.